What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Geeky Investor, where stocks talk and we translate. Today we're going to discuss why AMD stock is tanking and the stock is crashing, and whether we think that this is a buying opportunity for AMD. But to make things short for you and to save your time, I'm buying AMD right now, and I'm buying it heavy. Of course, this is not a financial advice. You have to do your own research and make up your own mind. I'm just showing you what I personally think, and this does not have to be correct. You have to follow your own research. So, to begin with, I'll show you here that AMD stock is actually tanking and decreasing by as much as 17 to 20% in the last month. So AMD was $260 and it reached to as low as $198 within the last 2 days, within just 1 month, and now it's on $214. Now, before we continue, guys, I'm telling you, people are selling it at $200. I am buying it. These same people will be buying it from me at $600 or even more, up to $800 for the stock, and this is just the beginning over the next 3 to 5 years. So remember that, and we're gonna go back to that in 2028, 2030, and you guys can remember this video. So why is this significant decrease happening? And I'll show you now that because of some reports that Meta, or Facebook's owner, is negotiating multi-billion-dollar purchases with Google's company Alphabet regarding TPUs, or tensor processing units, for its data centers. Now, for those who do not know what these TPUs are, they are just an alternative to what GPUs do to some other companies that are seeking to diversify away from just GPUs. So the report also goes on to say that there is potential deployment by 2027 rentals via Google Cloud as early as next year into 2026, and Meta is seeking to diversify from Nvidia's AMD soaring AI demands. So what is happening here essentially is Meta, or Facebook's company, is trying to diversify away from GPUs and to diversify away from Nvidia, because most of the big companies, these hyperscalers, what they call them, is that they are depending on one company. Usually it's Nvidia because it's the biggest company with the biggest market share when it comes to GPUs. So they are trying to diversify and not just have this one supplier, because let's say if Nvidia decides to raise its prices, what's going to happen to Facebook's customers? What's going to happen to Facebook is that they're going to lose market share, or they're going to lose a lot of profit margins. They're going to lose revenue growth. So this is really going to affect their income and their balance sheet, which is going to significantly hurt their stock. And that's why Facebook and these other companies, Meta and other companies, they're trying to diversify away from just having one supplier, which is usually Nvidia or AMD. Now, because this is affecting Nvidia, people reacted and they went on to sell AMD. Since AMD, if Nvidia is going to lose market share from that point, then AMD is not going to gain market share, so the growth that they potentially have would be decreased. So that's what's happening right now. But I think that this is not the true story. I'll show you why in a bit. But before we go for that, Meta is shift is signaling and eroding GPU dominance in AI infrastructure. And guys, before I tell you that these analysts are trying to show a lot of things that are not accurate. The word eroding means that it's eating away. It's kind of, there's a cake and it's eating away. You were gonna eat this, but that's not true. It's the market, the AI market is so big that it can fit multiple players. So it can fit GPUs, it can fit Nvidia, AMD, and it can fit other things like TPUs from Google. So the sell-off is underscoring the intensifying AI hardware, with Google validating 7 years of TPU development, while Nvidia faces margin squeeze from rising competition. And that's why Nvidia and AMD stocks are decreasing. Now, I'd like to ask you guys, what do you think? Why do you think this is happening? Now, here, what's happening is that, as we can see here, TPU's deal could be worth multiple billions, signaling an alternative to compute demand. And TPUs are designed and engineered by Broadcom and manufactured by TSMC, the Taiwan company. So Broadcom and TSMC, by the way, their stocks has been increasing recently because of these news, while AMD and Nvidia are decreasing. So these TPUs represent a competitive pathway to traditional GPUs in AI workloads, and other companies may explore to diversify compute options, reducing GPU growth dependence. So if Facebook or Meta is doing this, then some other companies, Oracle and other companies, might have to follow the same path, and so this is going to decrease the expected revenue growth for AMD, which is going to hurt their stocks, and that's why the stock is tanking. Now, what these analysts and investors are thinking is that the current AI spending appears to be particularly circular. It's driven by positive feedback cycles rather than pure fundamentals. And as we can see here, I'll just focus on this. Now, as we can see here, the biggest circle in the middle is Nvidia. I'm calling it a circle, not a bubble, because, you know, it doesn't have to burst. Maybe things would change in the short term, but I'm calling for the long term. We can see here that Nvidia is powering OpenAI, and OpenAI at the same time is also agreeing to invest $100 billion in Nvidia is agreeing to invest $100 billion into OpenAI, and the same is happening with OpenAI and AMD. OpenAI is buying into AMD, as we can see here on the left side. So OpenAI to deploy 6 gigawatts of AMD GPUs, while on the other side, on the flip side, AMD gives OpenAI an option to buy 160 million shares. Now, what is 160 million shares? That's a 10% potential dilution to AMD shareholders. Now, this is like a two-way where OpenAI is investing into AMD, AMD is investing into OpenAI, and some people are saying that this is a bad deal, but this is not the story of our talk right now. What I'm trying to say is, you know, company A is investing in company B, B into C, C back into A, and A back into B. So this is like a positive, vicious cycle, positive feedback that one increases the other and the other goes back to increase the first one, which is kind of blowing and bubbling this market and appearing to make it appear to have, you know, all of this expected revenue, while in reality it's just one company investing to the other back to the first. So it's kind of like a bubble territory, and that's what some analysts are saying. But I'll show you why this is really wrong, and with the evidence from the CEO of AMD, Lisa Su. So Lisa Su yesterday has come to New York City, and she's done a meeting, a financial meeting, where she's explored the targets of AMD and what they expect within the coming few years. So now we'll read through this. So CEO Lisa Su said that she believes the data center market will be worth $1 trillion by 2030. And as we know, this could be more than 2 to 3x from the current data center market that we have right now. Now, AMD goes on to say that they are seeing strong momentum with multiple, focus on the word multiple, gigawatt scale project opportunities for its MI450 series. So not just the 400, but also the 450 series chips and the Helios rack scale offerings. And we all know that the Helios, for those who do not know, the Helios is the complete solution from all the way A to Z. So it's the CPUs, GPUs, and the software, so that it makes it easier for the end customer or the company or their, you know, the ones who are purchasing from them, so that it's easier for the developers, so that they have all the solutions in just one place, which is the same as Nvidia's product. So this is really good for AMD, and it's showing that it's gaining market share because of that. So Lisa Su goes on to say, we have now all of the pieces to deliver full AI factories. And that is really our goal through this entire stack across CPUs, GPUs, software, networking, and our cluster level system design. So, guys, if you remember the CEO of AMD, Lisa Su, when she came back in 2012 or 2014, if I recall correctly, you know, the company was dying. Its CPU market was just decreasing and losing market share. The GPU was almost nothing. AMD was never also mentioned in the GPU market by that time. The stock, it was almost $2 if you remember at that time. Now it's more than $200. So that's 100x from that time by just this great CEO, guys. So trust in the CEO. She's also trying to increase what she's done. So it's trying to save it and also do even more than that. So we go on here to say that you know, markets on the short term are based on reactions rather than actual actions. So Lisa Su is showing us that they are on a path to deliver significant revenue growth, deliver good margins and increases in profits. However, the market is not looking at the rational things, they are just doing reactions. And Meta is using both GPUs and TPUs, guys. It's not like abandoning Nvidia or AMD, it's just diversifying a bit from its so it's a bit diversifying away to not just have one supplier. So they are also dealing with this TPU from Google. So the AI infrastructure market is not all or none. The capacity is large enough to accommodate multiple winners and multiple players, as we just said. And the data center market is expected to reach $1 trillion by 2030. And, even when there is competition, GPU vendors or AMD and Nvidia will still see strong diversified demand across clients. And here, with these companies, if you guys look at them, what would you remember? Now, I'm sure you all guys remember when ChatGPT or OpenAI first came just a couple of years ago, everybody, every investor, every analyst was saying, Alphabet is doomed. They're going to lose money. They're going to lose market share. All their profits and profit margins, everything's going to get squeezed. They're going to lose. Sell the stock. That was happening a few years ago. But then remember what happened. The company had increased revenue. Their profits has increased. Their margins has increased. And what has followed? Obviously, it's the share price. So don't be fooled into what these analysts are saying. Again, also the same thing happened with TikTok and Meta. So when first TikTok came, everybody knows TikTok, it came from China. And at that time, when it first came, the subscribers and those who are opening their accounts, it was like the best record and the fastest record to reach a certain number by that time, which was really significant for the company. Everybody was saying, let's sell Meta stock. Meta is gonna lose. Everybody who owns Meta stock should sell Meta, and the company would not make any more profit. A lot of its profit would be lost to TikTok. But what happened from that time? Meta has increased its revenues, profits, margins, and the stock has followed. The same is happening to AMD particularly, and Nvidia as well. So please remember that, okay? Google and ChatGPT, and the same is happening in Nvidia, AMD, and these other companies. So there's no question data center is the largest growth opportunity out there, and one that AMD is very, very well positioned for. So if you see here, we continue on to see what Lisa Su has said, that OpenAI is making a deal with 6 gigawatts of GPUs and to provide an Oracle to provide additional 50,000 chips for the company. So these two are so OpenAI and Oracle are the ones that are disclosed. There are some other agreements that are happening under the table, but we're not yet aware of them. So moreover, we say that data center business is on track to make tens of billions of dollars of revenue in 2027. So tens of billions, guys, focus on this. This is $20+ billion by 2027. You know what the level is right now? It's way less than that. So that's more than 2x increase by 2027. That's a significant increase. So double-digit share of the AI center market is happening. And we know that AMD is battling and stealing market share from Intel as well. So it's not just the GPU market, but it's also the CPU market. So Lisa Su says that there's a clear path to capturing more than 50% of the server revenue market share, up from 40%. So that's 10% from 40%. So that's like 25% relative increase. That's data center business will also see a compounded annual growth rate of 50%. That's a significant, it's a number that we cannot really imagine. Also, Lisa Su goes on to say that the PC market side, also AMD expects to grab 40% of the market share over the next 3 to 5 years, while it is currently at 20% revenue share as of now. So that's doubling of its revenue share in the PC market within just 3 to 5 years. So that's an almost 20% compounded annual growth rate. So you see the different parts of AMD, the data center business, 50% compounded annual growth rate, 20% compounded annual growth rate for the PC market, and the different markets. So you see an overall compounded annual growth rate of 35% over the next 3 to 5 years. So if a 35% compounded annual growth rate goes into that, and then the profits would also follow that, if you get also better profit margins, this will all be reflected into the company's share price, which is gonna show more than 35% compounded annual growth rate increase in their share price, which is going to be translated into more than $600 per share for AMD between 2028 and 2030. And that's what I personally believe, although you have to do your own research. So one last thing, guys, look at this chart. So what you see here is you see AMD in 2013. So what's happening? AMD's share price is around $4. It goes to increase up to all the way $13. So that's a 3x within just a short period of time. But then people are saying at that time, yeah, let's just not buy the stock. The stock has been up so much. But look what happened after that time. It has increased to $100. And now everybody at that time was saying, the company is super overvalued, it's going to decrease. And look what happened. Once again, it's back to above $200. That's a doubling from that level. And now people again are saying the same thing. $200 is a stretch for the company. It's going to decrease. And guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be more than 600 within 3 to 5 years. So that's a 3x within 3 years to 5 years, which is a significant increase that we can expect from this company. So guys, you have to remember what Lisa Su was saying, okay? And AMD is expecting, I'll zoom this. AMD is expecting double-digit growth potential, reaching 35% compounded annual growth rate, major collaborations, OpenAI and Oracle and other hyperscalers. AMD is positioned not just in the data center, but also in the gaming division. It's strong CPU, strong GPU, PCs, and gaming, and there is also the server markets with continued epic adoption. So all of this diversified revenue streams reduce the reliance on any single client or sector, which is going to potentially put AMD into a great pathway. And that's why I really believe that AMD is really well positioned, is going to gain market share. The revenue, the profits are going to increase. The share price could reach $600 3 to 5 years. Remember that, and I would see you within 3 to 5 years back on this video, and we're going to see what really happens. See you on our next video.